Hello and welcome to Reginaldesq. I'm Underhook and this is my review of the Russian Tier 9 light scout tank, the T-54 lightweight. So is it any good? Yes, yes, yes. It's an excellent scout tank, a very good active scout tank. Now, if wargaming have ever left themselves open to accusations of Russian bias, this tank is an example of it. Now, I don't know if there really is Russian bias in the game or not, but you could argue, because the soft stats on this tank defy explanation as far as I can see. This thing excels as an active scout. It's a really good combat tank, not only a scouting tank but a great combat tank as well. The gun handling is fantastic. Other than accuracy, the gun handling is fantastic, and the actual handling of the tank is phenomenal. The turn rate, the speed, the turret turn, everything like that on this tank is incredibly good, and is too good, really. And if you want a scout tank that can also attack and just rip other tanks to pieces, this is it. And it's fairly well armored as well. And like I say, its soft stats are defy explanation, which is, I guess, where an accusation of Russian bias could come from on this tank. Probably not as good as a passive scout because the view range isn't as long as some of the other tanks, but as an active scout, I think it excels. Now, I have a vents fitted. I'm trying to increase the view range, I guess, as much as possible. So I have vents fitted and I have coated optics fitted because I use this as an active scout, not a passive scout. So it means I'm scouting whilst moving. And I have a, I think I have a gun laying drive fitted. Is that? Let me check. Oh no, I have vertical stabilizer fitted. Okay, to improve the accuracy on the move. It does have very good accuracy whilst moving, but I put the vertical stabilizers on to improve that even more. I didn't worry about going with a gun laying drive or a gun rammer because I was more concerned with scouting, and I also, I didn't want to force myself or make myself, encourage myself to get into combat as much because I wanted to do more scouting. But you could do that. You could put on a gun laying drive or something like that, because as far as combat goes, this is actually a very good combat tank as well. Alright, so my crew are pretty good in this tank. My commander has 6th sense, 100% concealment, and is 80% through recon, so perfect commander for a scout tank. Concealment, snapshot, and working on Deadeye is the gunner. We have concealment, smooth ride, and working on controlled impact. Now, you might think controlled impact is a bit weird, but this is the heaviest of the Tier 9 scout tanks by a fair way. So ramming other scout tanks is a good thing to do in this tank. And this guy's work concealment, has situational awareness, and is working on firefighting as well. So that's my crew, that's my setup. Let's have a look at the tank comparison now. So there are only 5 Tier 9 scout tanks and none of them are premiums, which is kind of interesting. The T-54 lightweight is on the left, and we have the Chinese version on next to it. T-49, AU-251 and the AMX-1390. The T-49 has the howitzer style gun fitted in this example. I don't know how to change the guns, but I would tell you the stats of the standard gun for a more direct comparison. So penetration of 208 is kind of a little bit lackluster, I guess, but I don't have a problem with it. I have good games without firing any premium because most of the time I'm not going to be shooting at the front of tanks anyway. The T-49 with its more sort of a standard AP gun has a penetration of 212. So they're fairly similar. The Chinese has good penetration of 220. The alpha damage, the WZ, the Chinese, has a damage of 320 per shot, which is pretty damn awesome. The T-49 here normally has 240, and we have 250 in the lightweight. 240 in the Russian, and the 1390 has 240. This is very similar to when I recently reviewed the Tier 8 mediums, that the Russian tanks have a little bit more alpha with a similar gun to other tanks. 10 points more, same as on the mediums. This gun here, like I said, does 240, but you can see here how it's a style gun with a penetration of 76, doing 9-10 damage, could be useful against other scout tanks. Rate of fire of 8.33 or a reload of 7.2 is pretty darn good for this gun. The RU-251 is a little better with a reload of 8.57, and the T-49 is actually the best though. With its standard gun, it reloads at 9.4, which is way and above the best, so it has a much better reload than the other guns when you consider it does 240 damage per shot. If you use a howitzer style gun here, it has a massive reload, so that's something you can take into consideration. Shell velocity of 1050 on the T-54 is pretty darn good. A little bit better than the Chinese. The others are all pretty similar. Let's move down a bit. Now, I did promise you this tank was a bit OP. If you look at the gun handling stats here, this is where it starts to get a little bit wild. We have an aim time of 2.2, which isn't the best. The best is the RU-251 at 2 seconds, but 2.2 is pretty good. The T-49 has 2.3. Dispersion of 0.42. Yeah, the accuracy of this gun isn't good, but that's pretty typical usually for a scout tank. If you're trying to hit tanks at long range with the T-54, you'll often miss the tank completely. I imagine that would be fairly similar for the others. I know with the T-49 that has 0.40. That happens with the T-49 as well. The 251 I've heard is fairly accurate, and the 1390 has always been pretty wild as far as I'm concerned as well. So none of them really have great accuracy. But look at our dispersions while moving in their soft stats here. So we lose a lot less accuracy than all of the other tanks when moving. And during track traverse and turret traverse, the amount of accuracy we lose is substantially better than other tanks, which basically means that our 2.2 second aiming time is actually a lot better than it looks here, because when we turn our turret and begin aiming again, we're starting from a lower base, if you like. So we've already lost less aim when we're moving, so we don't need as long to aim. So soft stats, Russian bias, I don't know. Same when firing the gun, we're the equal best. Yeah, elevation of 17 degrees is the second worst. The AMX, poor AMX 39 has terrible gun elevation rate, 12. 17 is not great, but it's a very low profile tank, so fair enough. Gun depression of 5 degrees, once again, very low profile tank, so we suffer. The Chinese also has 5, the AMX has 6. The T-49 and the RU-251 both have 10. So they have excellent gun depression, we have poor gun depression. That is a weakness of the tank, it's not a good hill fighter. Forward speed of 69 kilometers an hour is very, very good. The RU-251 has 70, the others are 64, 65, but for reasons which I'm about to explain, that 69 is a solid 69 speed. It is very fast tank, and I would say much better than all of these others. I haven't driven the RU-251, I don't know, but this thing is really good. Reverse speed 23, there's only the T-49, RU-251 24, the others are 23. Okay, weight. This thing weighs just over 30 tonne. The next heaviest is the RU-251 at 25.5 tonne. You can ram any of these guys. In fact, you can ram a lot of lower tier tanks and you will win out. It is pretty good for ramming scout tanks, this guy. Power to weight ratio isn't the best. It's about average. The T-49 is much better. The RU-251 is a bit better. However, check out the resistances, terrain resistances here. Now, there's the terrain resistance. Here's your effective terrain resistance, which is the main thing. 62.91 on hard terrain. The next best is the RU-251 with 53. So we are substantially better than the next best and way better than all the others. Medium terrain, 55. Next best, the RU-251 again on 47, so it's substantially better again. And on soft terrain, which is really important, 36.7. That's at least 30% better than the next best, which is the RU-251. And it's approaching like over 40% better than the others. That's crazy. It is the heaviest of all of the scout tanks. Admittedly, it's got the most engine power, but it doesn't have the best power-weight ratio because it's heavily armoured. Yet it has better resistances than every other tank, way better. How is that physically possible? And this is where I guess a complaint of Russian buyers could come in here. The turret traverse is 48. Next best is the AMX 1390 at 46. So it has the best turret traverse. Track traverse, so how fast the tracks turn, it rotates on the spot or when cornering, 50. Next best is the WZ at 132. Sorry, the VZ 132 at 46. Substantially better than the worst, the 1390. So, best track traverse, turret traverse, best terrain resistances, effectively the best speed, because the terrain resistances mean that we are going to get to top speed much more quickly, accelerate much more quickly, corner much more quickly. This is the fastest, most maneuverable, and the heaviest. Best track, best turret traverse. Yeah, come on, really? And that's why it's a great active scout. It's just so good and so maneuverable and so good at getting out of danger. The armor, 80 mils frontal armor, better than all the others. Turret 180, substantially better. The next best has 55, and we've got 180 at the front of the turret. And we will have a look at the armor on this tank in a little bit. Health. Okay, well at least they haven't gone overboard in health. 1300, inexplicably better than the WZ 1328. But the T-49 and T-51 have 100 more, which is good. The AMX 1390, poor AMX 1390 only has 1200. So what's bad? The only bad thing about this tank really is the view range of 390. It's the same as the Chinese, and the 1390 has even worse at 380, but 410 for the T-49 and T-41. So if you want a good passive scout, T-49 and T-51 can do a good job with great view range. And that's another reason why I use this as an active scout. Just doesn't have the view range, in my opinion, to be a great passive scout. And that's about all there is. Oh, the shell cost, $396, is really cheap. The cheapest of all of the shells. So you probably make a better profit in this tank than the others as well. The poor WZ has 1,050, but it does do pretty good alpha damage. Let's have a look at the armor. So the armor on this tank is good for a scout tank. It's not great for a tank in general, but it's good for a scout tank. You will bounce some shots off some pretty big tanks. It's kind of fluky sometimes, but there's a few tactics you can employ with the armor in this tank. The upper plate and lower plate are both 80 millimeters. The lower plate though is pretty sharply angled, and that's where you actually bounce a lot of shots. I found is off the lower plate. People naturally go for the lower plate thinking it's going to be soft, but it's actually well angled on this tank. The sides of the tank are 60 millimeters, which is really good for a light tank, and you can actually, as you can see here, it's a ricochet we're getting here now. You can actually get quite a few ricochets off the side of this tank by kind of side scraping, which is weird for a scout tank, but you can. The turret, well, the mantlet is basically impenetrable. Look at this, what do we got? 378, 580. The mantlet, don't ever shoot the mantlet with any gun. This tank has a very good mantlet. The red areas we can see here are 180 millimeters. If you aim like close to the gun or close to the mantlet here, it's about 200. You can get down to, look, there's a small section here where it's 180, 190. But you know, if you miss a little bit, hit the mantlet, then you're not going to go through it. If you go a little bit the other way, it's going to be harder as well because it starts to curve away. So this area, yeah, the red area is 180. This it's 160 just here, and this area here is 135. Up a bit here is probably, if you can only shoot the turret on this tank, this area to the upper left or right of the mantlet is your best bet. You can get as low as 160 there. The cupola is of course 91 millimeters and is penetrable, but it's well sloped. And if you go a little bit too low and you hit the top of the tank here, you're going to get a ricochet. It's quite a fairly good sized ricochet area here. So yeah, it's kind of a bit iffy going for the cupolas, so probably either side of the mantlet if you can only shoot the turret. So this tank hull down can actually present problems for especially lower T tanks or other scouts. The other thing about this is if you're angled, like let's say you're popping out from behind a rock having a shot and popping back, people aim for your lower plate, it's going to be a ricochet here as well unless they have a very high caliber gun. The upper plate is a much better bet. You can see here, even on this angle, it's only getting to around about 200 degrees, although on this side of it here, it's ricochet, but around here. If it's on this sort of an angle, 190, 135 straight on, Well, the same height as this tank, which is unusual because it's low. The lower plate 150, upper plate 130. So always go the upper plate in this tank. And if you're the height of a normal tank, a little bit higher, upper plate is very soft at 120, but the lower plate's not bad at 180, 190. So always go the upper plate on this tank if you possibly can. Side scraping, look at that, ricochet all the way along. The front lower plate's still pretty good, about 190. The upper plate's a bit weak. The turret, of course, will still be fairly strong. So if they don't shoot your upper plate, you're pretty much going to get a ricochet. I have employed a tactic on this of, say I'm driving into the tank, I can see the tank and there's a rock. I head towards the rock and I just leave my back exposed. People always shoot it because they think, oh, it's a light tank, and they shoot and they ricochet. Then you pop out from behind the rock again and give them a blast. That can work as a pretty good tactic, depending on the tank you're facing, of course. But overall, pretty good armor. Even the sides of the turret, we've got 90mm here, 120 down there. The side of the tank, as I said, is 90, and your tracks give you 20 spaced armor. 45 at the back, which is really good for a scout tank, although it's not going to stop anybody, but it will mitigate artillery hits a little bit. 15 on the top deck at the back, but at the front top deck is 20, and the top of the turret is 20, except the cupola hatches are 32. 20 there, that's weird. And wow, okay. And it's 53 on this part of the turret. So even against artillery, this tank is fairly well defended. The map is Karelia. It's a tier 10 game. We're in our tier 9 scout tank. And this game actually isn't that fantastic a game. I make some really bad mistakes, but it does show off the tank's abilities a little bit, and also I think shows the tank is a little bit forgiving because it is just sort of so good, I guess. So I've marked on the map, I think I just marked on the map to my team where I was going, and basically I'm going for the middle to try and go up top. And on the way there we spot the Centurion 5-1 on the other team. We've also spotted a Chrysler, and I have no intention of going up there while I'm being spotted, so... And we've got a shot on that Chrysler there, and we're also getting some spotting damage on that Chrysler. So you can see spotting range is pretty good. I have got a good crew, and I have got coated optics. Don't think we spotted the enemy T-54 lightweight. I'm assuming somebody else spotted that. And hit the mantlet. Well, that wasn't going in. But like I say, with the penetration, you don't need that great a penetration, because if you're using a scout tank right, you shouldn't be in front of enemy heavies anyway. Going for the cupola there, you can see that accuracy at range isn't a feature of the tank. And if I hadn't fired that stupid shot, I would have been able to hit him there. That one goes in though. It's been hit by artillery as well, so I think we might be getting some spotting damage now. I don't know if we're still spotting him or not, but anyway, yeah, we are. We're getting spotting damage as well, and we got the kill, I think, do we? No, we didn't get the kill. Somebody else got that. Oh, let me switch this over so it's showing us tanks instead of names. Wish it wouldn't keep doing that. Alright, so the Centurion is still there. And like I say, I do make some mistakes in this game, which you're going to see pretty soon. Now, I've got a friendly defender coming up here behind me, so I figure, well, if he's coming up, I'll go up as well, because at least if the Centurion starts shooting at me, I'll have some firepower backing me up. As it is, for some reason I don't see the Centurion, so he might have just left the area. So now the enemy team isn't on the hill, we now have the hill, but uh-oh. I went for a tracking shot on that defender, but no good. I start backing this way and I realise it's a mistake because I might get shot from tank from behind me. I just fire a shot there hoping to get his track, but doesn't work. So we copped the hit there from the defender, but actually it didn't do any damage. We've seen the enemy T-54 lightweight. That shot went true, thankfully. I'm behind. I've got the rock here between myself and the enemy tank, so I'm not too worried, because if I proximity spot him, I can maneuver around the rock more easily than he can. But yeah, that shot bounced that gold round from the defender. We bounced a gold round from a defender. So there you go. The armour, like I say, this tank, as far as scout tanks go, is probably the most forgiving of the tier 9 scout tanks. You can get lucky in this tank. So I move up here, do some spotting, and I figure if something comes up behind me from the hill there, I can just duck back down again. It is a limitation though up there, like you saw with that Defender, that this thing doesn't have great gun depression, so you can get into a little bit of trouble when your enemies are utilising hills. The T-54 lightweight's been spotted again. I just need to move a little bit so I can get a shot. We penetrated there, somebody else hit him as well, and he's dead now. Alright, so I decided to go up and scout the hill here again. And we immediately spot a couple of tanks on the left, but I've gone brain dead and I don't realise where they are, and they suddenly go, whoa! There's a Defender and a T-34 there. This was silly of me. I go and have a shot at the T-34, allowing him to get a return shot. I mean, he knew I was there, I shouldn't have done that, but we bounced it. So we've bounced a gold round from a Defender and a shot from a T-34 heavy tank. So yeah, T-34 tier 8 heavy. So you can do well, and that's why I'm showing you this replay. I had a lot of games on Prokhorovka that I could have shown you, but you've probably seen a zillion scouting games on Prokhorovka because it's such a good scouting map. So I decided not to show you any Prokhorovka games, just so it's a little bit different. Alright, so these tanks appear to have moved on, these other two tanks that were here, so I move up here, think I'm going to get some shots on the back of these tanks. I wish I had better gun depression. Put a shot into the back of that Defender there, forcing him now to turn around, and I'm backing up. He misses me, fortunately. There are benefits to having a low profile tank, but this is where this tank is weak. This hill area here, I'm having to expose far too much of my tank to get shots. And this guy, I realised far too late, was actually pointing his gun at me. He has fired though, so I figure I've got enough time now to get another shot in. I go for the front wheel. I don't know if I hit the wheel. I don't think I did because I didn't track him. But does go through his lower plate anyway. So, you know, Oho is a tier... Is it a tier 8? Yeah, it's a tier 8 heavy tank, and so we penetrated his lower plate, so, you know, the penetration is okay. The Defender finally catches up with us though, a bit angry that we put a shot into his back, and he come up the hill and has put a shot into us. I decided it's time to depart. Have taken quite a bit of damage now. But you can see here, even that Oho hitting me with HE only did 318 damage. So because the armour is decent, you don't just explode like other Scouts tanks do. And that's another reason why, like I say, this tank is kind of forgiving. Now that Defender's just got hit by artillery, which is great. We didn't get spotting damage though, the back chat next to us did. But it has been destroyed, that Defender now. So I decided to just see what's up here. Nothing here. It looks like they've gone back down again. But really I wish here I had good gun depression. And uh-oh, what have I done? There's no going through that tank. I don't even shoot. I decided to shoot this guy just to get a shot in before I die. But I fail and we're dead. So I made some really big mistakes, and fighting on this hill was probably the biggest one. I should have probably just avoided this hill as far as trying to get shots goes. Just got a little bit more spotting damage there anyway, so anyway, that's it for this game. That was a class 3 game in the tank. It did give me my LT-15 mission completion though, which I've been trying to complete for ages. I haven't really been driving high tier light tanks though, so... But yeah, we finally completed that mission, which gave me that, is it T-28 HTC, that tank? It was for that one anyway. Next screen, so class 3, next screen, we finished sort of well down on experience compared to the rest of our team. Like I say, it wasn't the greatest game, but it did show off some capability, showed off the armour a little bit, and the manoeuvrability, I think, of the tank. We fired 17 shots, 12 of them hit, so the accuracy isn't fantastic. 9 of them penetrated, doing 2,165 damage. About half of that was long range. We received 6 hits, 2 of them we bounced. We spotted 4, we damaged 4 tanks. We did 1,870 spotting damage as well. And when you combine those, it makes just over 4,000, which is what you need for that LT-15 mission. It was combined spotting and damage over 4,000. Funnily enough, I got it on this game. Then for my very next game, I did it again, and then I had a break of one game, and then the next 2 games I got over the 4,000 again as well. So I've sort of cracked it for this tank now, and I kind of regularly get over that 4,000 combined mark. Oh, profit-wise, we made 19,000. Tier 9 tanks, not the most profitable. Hello, dear viewers. The map is Province. And the last time I played this map was in my Walker Bulldog review, or re-review. And I went across the map, and when I did, I was scouting. I said, you know what, I should have gone up the top, right up the top. I think that would be the best place to scout from. So this was the next time I got the map, and I thought, I'm going to go up the top this time and see how it goes. So it's a tier 9 game, so we're top tier. And I thought I'm going to go up the top and see how good the scouting is from there. And it turns out to be pretty good. Now, right next to me, I have an ELC. You can see him racing along there, and look at the speed of my tank. This is pretty good speed, this tank. So he actually goes to a pretty good spot, and if you watch where he goes, he actually gets a good spot straight away. He spots the enemy scout tank. So he's still behind me right now. Actually, I'll just disconnect from my tank so you can see where he goes. See how he goes just in there? And straight away he spotted the enemy T-49. So that's not a bad idea for scouting, and that T-49 has just taken quite a few hits. So he would have got good scouting damage for that. This tank is so fast, I'm able to get through here without anybody spotting me on the way up. And this is where I wanted to get to, because I can spot from here and nobody can proximity spot me unless they come all the way around up the hill behind me. And I can also, from this position, see over the top of some of these buildings. And I haven't spotted anything yet, but there we go. There's the Tiger 1. And see, I can see the top of him sticking up over these buildings. And I decided to put a shot into him. I back up. I've got 6th sense, and yes, it's gone off. So I better keep going back. I just wanted to test and see if he would spot, because it looked like I had him double bushed there. Maybe he spotted, maybe somebody else spotted me. But someone just did damage to the Tiger 1. And oh, I finally got spotting damage, but it looked like the first hit to hit the Tiger, I didn't get spotting damage for. That was kind of weird. Now, there's a T10 spotted down here as well. Just over there. And here goes the Tiger, and yep, we get another shot into him. I back up straight away, and we get a good lot of spotting damage there. I think 488's artillery or somebody hit him. Our 6th sense didn't go off that time. So for those of you who are new to the game, if you're going to do scouting, especially at this tier, you really want to have 6th sense. That's pretty much essential. 6th sense, and then everybody else on camouflage, I think, is probably the best bet. We just got some spotting damage on a Leo. So that Leo and that Jag Tiger 88, you can see back there, we just spotted those tanks. So you can spot over the top of the buildings. Here we go, we've spotted these guys again. Look at them all. Leo, pretty soft target. T-52 behind him. Put one into the Leo going for his wheel. Went for his wheel so that we'll hopefully get spotting damage if, well, track assisted damage if somebody shoots him. Now I decide to relocate just to throw off artillery in case artillery is pre-aiming at me. And I come up this way to see if I can get this T10, and here he is. I don't have the gun depression to hit him unless I come right forward. Now he's looking straight at me. I have not been spotted, and I think to myself, is he using some sort of a cheat? Because how does he know I was there? And then a shot whistled over my head. Now it could have been this Jag Panther just went behind me, so it could have been maybe they saw him, but I don't know. Anyway, enemy scout tank, too good an opportunity. I decide to shoot him, and I back up, and I wasn't spotted. How was I not spotted by the enemy scout tank? I have no idea. Maybe he's just got that tank and his crew isn't fully trained, because I don't know how he didn't spot me then. I'm a little bit worried about this Jag Panther blowing my cover and artillery sort of splashing us, and me dying sort of as a consequence of that. But anyway, so here we have the enemy 88. I was aiming at his rear, but he turned just as I shot and hit the side of him. But we're getting good spotting damage on him and some of the other tanks up here anyway. You can see spotting damage just keeps clicking over. I don't realise, but the top of that Emil was just showing there, and I didn't realise till too late, so I missed getting a shot on him. The guy next to him shot him now, and we're getting spotting damage on him now anyway, so what the hey. Enemy Comet, yes, we definitely want to shoot the enemy Comet. Now there you go, see my teammate, I called him my enemy because he was kind of drawing fire to me. but my teammate there gets blown up. So whilst this is a great spot for a scout tank, I don't necessarily know that it's a great spot for a TD, unless you probably have to move further back and be, you know, 15 metres behind the bush. So we take care of the enemy Comet there, where we left him with 8 hit points, which we got spotting damage for anyway. So this is a pretty good spot, folks. And really, I've hardly moved from this spot. I mean, I moved down, missed my chance there on that Leo, but I didn't get spotted. Can we get a shot on this Jag Tiger? Here he comes. Yeah, we get one into him. I stay here just to see if I've been spotted, and no, I haven't been. Can we get a shot on this Leo? Will we reload in time? Yes, Leo, very soft target. Doesn't matter where you hit, as long as you hit it. Shot didn't go anywhere near where I aimed it. We aimed at his hull, but hit him in the turret, but it doesn't matter. Leo's quite soft. Jag Tiger 88. Is he going to come out again? T10 is still down there. Can we get him from here? Pull out a bit, and there you go with the poor accuracy. We had a good shot there, really good shot, but just, yeah, missed by quite a while. Admittedly, we weren't fully aimed, but, you know, that was a bit of bad luck. So I had to move up to this side now, just because I did shoot him from there. I was probably spotted. He's probably manoeuvring to position, so he's aiming straight at me again. How did he know I was going to that spot? Maybe I was still spotted when I started heading down this way. I pretend to go back, I pretend like I'm going to come back to this spot and have another shot at him. I'm waiting for him to disappear off my screen. He's not disappearing, so somebody else has him spotted. Probably that ELC is now behind him. So I decide now to go back this way. So I'm hoping he thinks I'm still where I just was, and I can get a shot on him. A sneaky shot on him. But I kind of missed my chance there. I thought these two tanks on our team were up here. I don't know if they are or not, or what's going on. Now, I kind of make a mistake here. I stay up here too long. They've only got 4 tanks left. One of them's artillery. I really should be driving down there and just, you know, even drive up right behind that T10 and just basically kill it, because I've got full health, full hit points. There he is again. I've got that crack available again. This time it's a bit small, and I thought he was going to keep coming forward. So I take the shot and hits the front of his turret. We would have had the side of his turret if he kept moving forward, but I blew it. So now I pretend to stay up here. I think I'm going to pretend that I'm going to stay up here and then I'm going to double back again. Am I? Oh no, I'm thinking this T-54 is going to come out. That's what I was thinking at the time. But he's getting damaged, and I think he's actually... not exactly what I think is. The T-10 is moving now. We're going to get a shot here, I'm pretty sure. And I missed the shot. I don't know why. I was looking in the wrong spot and I just messed it up totally. So, really bad bit of play here. I should have been down at least on the next level, but anyway. I've woken up to my mistake, well, partially. I probably now should just keep driving down, trying to get a shot from here. So I'm looking for a shot on this T-10 here, but he's gone right around the corner of the rock now. And I'm currently now not getting any spotting damage, and I'm not getting any actual damage either. So I've really missed some opportunities here by being overly cautious, which I tend to do. Anyway, we're on track now. They now only have 3 tanks left, and we've obviously got stacks of tanks left. We're annihilating them now. Their artillery, Lorraine there, is almost dead. Here's the T-10. I decided not to shoot there. I decided might as well not be in the same line as the other guy, because he'll be aiming there. So I'll come up this way. Don't take damage if I don't have to. Now this is about where I died in my T-49, so I got hit by artillery, so I was kind of being a little bit careful, but their artillery is now dead. And I mean my M41, not my T-49. I don't have the T-49 yet. And it's only their scout tank left. Someone is highlighting on the map where they believe he is, so I'm going to head straight there. I've got full health, so I've got nothing to lose. Might as well just drive straight up to him and blast him, eh? This guy did a good job surviving, because I think he was the one who lost like 2/3 of his health right at the start of the game, isn't he? And there he is. We had to get pretty close. We actually had the proximity spot him, so he was doing a good job. We put a shot into him there. We copped the shot, but what the hey. And somehow we didn't get spotting damage. End of the game, folks. That was a Class 2 game in the tank, and we managed to get a Confederate medal there as well. We did plenty of spotting, as you can see. Finished second for our team on experience with 981. That other scout tank, which went to that really good position at the start, he actually got top, so he must have done some good spotting there. Let's have a look and see what he did actually. Actually, how do I... Oh, I can't because I'm not live. Okay. We fired 15 shots, 13 of them hit and 11 penetrated. We did 2,787 damage, which was pretty good in a scout tank. A little less than half was long range. Spotted 7 enemies, we damaged 7 enemies, didn't destroy anyone, and we did 2,677 assistance damage, so well over 5,000 combined. Not a bad game, and we actually made a decent profit, 44,500 profit, because the ammunition is quite cheap in this tank, and we didn't take that much damage. We only actually got penetrated once there at the end. Thank you for watching my review of the T-54 Lightweight. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe to Reginaldesq and have fun.